canceled our wedding without even telling me.
Hello my friends, you're listening to Ebird Online, and I'm back with another review. Now I know I vowed never to speak about this couple again, so ridiculous were they. But guys, it would seem the unthinkable has happened, and finally this couple have, well, a storyline of some small merit. Yes, that's right guys, I'm talking about Big Ed and Liz. It's 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After, Season 8, Episode 7. But guys, what I'm going to do today is talk about what they've been getting up to this season. And then we're going to discuss what led to the big breakup. Ed has decided, unilaterally of course, however else does he decide anything, that he no longer wants to be with Liz. The big wedding, well, it's off. And guys, I've got to say, it does seem as if Big Ed is actually serious this time. And I know it must be so difficult to actually not just call off a wedding, but to call off a union, the joining of two families. And also to split up his burgeoning family with Liz, to cease parenting his stepdaughter. So just how did he do it? He decided to do it in the traditional way. It was by way of a third-party vendor. Wait, what? Yes, that's correct. Liz was informed of the fact that she was no longer engaged to be married when their wedding venue called and said they were so sorry for their cancellation. What? Guys, Ed blindsided Liz in the most despicable and cowardly manner I've ever borne witness to. Come on, my friends, let's dig into this mess. Very quickly, if you're new here, I'm Ebird Online, and I talk about these 90 Day Fiancé fools. And I break down all the tomfoolery that happens on these 90 Day Fiancé streets. So if you enjoy this video and you think you might like more, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And also to help my algorithm, please don't forget to smash the like button as well. Thanks, guys. And so, without further ado, I give you Big Ed and Liz. So last time we were with this, well, I hesitate to call them a couple, pair of ridiculous individuals. Yeah, last time we were with this pair of ludicrous individuals. They were screeching their way through an engagement party. But thus far this season, it's all changed for Ed and Liz. And the main change is that this pair have now moved to Arizona. And they're living with Liz's daughter as a family. And when I first saw this, I thought, big mistake, Liz. Don't involve the daughter in this shit show. But involved she is. And so the first time we see this pair, they're sitting on the sofa of a brand new rental in Arizona. And they're reminiscing on how they met. And Ed's very first talk to production this season is a lie. He said he was in love with Liz from the very first time he met her. Ed, we were all there. No, you weren't. You asked out every single person in that restaurant and Liz was last on your list. Anyway, Liz says the following.
I didn't like Ed when I met him.
Oh, Liz, neither did we. And soon, neither will you. And the couple talk on about their relationship. The bad and the ugly. And then they let us know that they're in therapy and that Ed's done so much work and that's why he's a much better person, a much better partner now. Quick question, Liz. Can you hear yourself?
We're a beautiful hurricane, and now we're calm and the sun's coming out. I feel like I'm on solid ground right now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think. I mean, my best guess is fentanyl. Yeah, I don't know, guys. What do you think? There's no other logical explanation for it. Liz tries to add a soupçon of realism to the conversation when she tells us Ed can sometimes be a little bit temperamental. Ed sometimes likes the sound of his own voice, and you do never know which Ed you're going to get. You're right, my love. You do never know which Ed you're going to get. Are you going to get angry, Ed? Are you going to get angry and shouting, Ed? Are you going to get angry, shouting and gaslighting, Ed? Or are you going to get angry, shouting, gaslighting and bullshitting, Ed? Take your pick, guys. It will definitely be one of the four, but you never do know which Ed you're going to get. Honestly, guys, it's so galling. Big Ed thinks just because he's been to a few therapy sessions and ummed and ahed in the right places and made the right noises that suddenly he's an empathetic man. Well, I guess take the M off and we're halfway there. Big Ed, going to therapy doesn't make you empathetic any more than standing in a garage makes you a freaking car. You're still the same selfish little dipshit you always were. Anyway, we see lots of VT with him talking away with Riley. And that's Liz's daughter, by the way. And what Ed's forgotten is that in throwing this relationship away with Liz, he's also very likely going to, well, I won't say devastate, but at least discombobulate Riley.
So I'm marrying your mommy.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to be your stepdad.
Okay.
Would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good lord, little did Riley know, Big Ed had his fingers crossed the whole time he did that pinky swear. But guys, I ask you, what kind of a man says this to a child and a couple of weeks later calls off the wedding? And Liz was busy waxing lyrical saying, Ed's a really good stepfather, he loves Riley so much, he's really made a difference in her life. And to some extent, guys, I have to put some of the blame onto Liz. It's not like she doesn't know who Big Ed is. Liz, repeat after me. If at first you don't succeed, fuck it off. It's honestly not worth it. Anyway, what else happened? Oh yes, that's right. Next up on Ed's wrecking ball of Arizona, he decided, along with Liz, to retrain as real estate agents. Well, I guess there's probably less call in Arizona than California for his smutty photo shoots. But I thought Liz already had, well, a great opportunity as a co-owner of a restaurant.
And I gave up my partnership in the restaurant in San Diego because there's just no way I would have been able to be a partner moving states away.
Right, I see. So we're building up quite a litany of misdemeanours, aren't we? And come on, we all know that Ed was massively threatened by the fact that Liz was a partner in this restaurant. And so, like the uber narc that he is, he's convinced her to give up the opportunity to move into a rental with him in his hometown. Guys, are you getting where I'm coming from? Anyway, we see Ed and Liz do quite an amusing little skit with Liz's daughter, and she pretends that she's going to buy a property, and Ed and Liz have to sell this 4-bed, 4-bath property to her. And surprisingly, Ed asked the client, i.e. Raleigh, anything about herself or her needs as a buyer. He just whittled on about himself and the property. I'll say this much, Ed can't even sell himself, so how he thinks he's going to be able to sell property to people, I'll never know. And when they asked Raleigh how they think she did, she pointed out exactly what I thought. Ed did all of the talking and didn't let Liz get a word in edgeways. Of course, Raleigh, do you not know Big Ed? No? Oh well, you never will now. And you'll be better off for it.
If somebody would have told us that we both are going to be real estate agents a year ago, I would have said, you're full of There's no way I'm moving. There's no way I'm getting married. There's no way we're going to live in a house. There's no way we'll have 3 dogs.
Well, whoever this they person is would have been entirely correct, because none of those things are going to happen, Ed. And you know what? I think he knew it all along. And I think I know why, because Ed had already told on himself when he was talking about, well, his responsibilities to Liz. He was more or less saying they're living off savings at the moment, they've got a big house, a lot of responsibilities, and hardly any money coming in, and he's quite worried about things. And he needs this real estate venture to get off the ground like yesterday, because he needs the money rolling in. Guys, I don't know much about real estate or being a realtor in America, but I know a little bit about it in the UK. I've never been a real estate agent, but I bought property for about 15 years in the UK when I was younger. And no deal is a quick deal, especially if you're looking at the higher end properties. So I used to buy student properties and so on, and even then it takes 3 to 4 months for anything to get sold and to go through. So really, from first meeting to actually signing papers to the person potentially getting money, you're looking at a minimum, I think, of like 4 months, more than likely 6 months. People in property in America, let me know if it's similar. I can't imagine it's wildly different.
I mean, we have a big wedding not only to plan for, but to pay for. I want to give Liz the best wedding possible, and I don't really want to tell her that we're underwater right now. So I'm really feeling the pressure to get this real estate deal off the ground. I need an income stream.
So Ed's inability to fulfill the promises that he's made has led him down a very dark alley. He hasn't been straight with Liz that he doesn't have any money, and I think this is part of the reason, or must be part of the reason, he's decided to unceremoniously pull the rug from under Liz and decide not to get married. And so next time we see Liz, she's with her grandmother, her mother and her daughter, and they're going wedding dress shopping. All I can say is, Liz, don't put down a deposit. Liz tells us that she has a modest budget, but she's very much mistaken. Liz, you have no budget. Big Ed is flat broke. And so she tries several dresses on and she decides on one that she really likes. And then she sets about chatting to her mum and grandmother, trying to convince them into liking Big Ed. She said, Ed's really changed. He's such a lovely human being now, and he's so good with my daughter. And her mum gives her a look which says, Liz, lie to yourself, please don't lie to us. But Liz's mum said, I'd like to talk to Ed and clear the air and help to make the atmosphere a little less uncomfortable. But Liz doesn't want this, for Liz knows the truth.
I just like when you guys talk, I don't want you to be like too straightforward, because I give that to him enough.
And this shows me that Liz knows good and well that Ed is likely to blow up at her mum if she tries to talk to him about the things that he's done to her daughter. Her mum hugs her and says everything's going to be okay, baby, and for once she's right, because the wedding's off. This whole little outing was completely pointless, and I feel as if Riley's the only person who's dressed appropriately today. All in black. So the next time we see this couple, it's at the 4th of July party, and Liz tells production, I just want my family to see what I see in Ed. Liz, no! You surely don't want them to see the truth. Why would you want that? Guys, I just don't think this is going to go well. Anyway, everyone arrives and it's a pool party and there's a barbecue. Liz's mum showed up and she pulled Ed to one side for a chat. And guys, I can always tell when Ed's lying. He's moving his mouth. And he said, I love Liz so much. I really want to make her happy. And guys, don't forget, at this point, they're just 2 weeks out from the wedding. And then he says this.
I'll tell you this. Every time that I've broken up with Liz, I regretted it.
Good.
Oh Lord, guys, this is peak Big Ed. This is his lying face. This is his fake emotion face. And for some bizarre reason, people still fall for it. And this is best demonstrated right here by Liz's mum.
Welcome to the family.
Thank you.
Okay.
I got the feeling I still have a lot of work to do. I still have to prove myself. But I respect what she had to say. And I pray to God one day that her mom will know that this is real and I want to take care of Liz for the rest of her life.
Guys, if any of you have got details for Liz on social media, please get in contact with her. Let her know she's only got 2 weeks left to live. Well, Ed did say he's going to look after her for the rest of her life. I'm making that a couple of weeks. Anyway, enough of all that. Finally, the bit you've been waiting for. The big breakup, the big showdown. But it's a little bit more of a dump squib than a showdown. So according to Liz, she and Ed had a big argument over tacos, hereafter known as Taco Gate. So Ed's family were over one night for supper, and Ed made the offending tacos a tad too spicy for Riley, who said she couldn't eat them. And Ed said, oh come on, stop being a big baby. And Liz, who was incensed at this, pulled Big Ed up on his behaviour. And so this descended into a massive argument and screaming match right in the middle of taco supper. I do have to say at this point, Riley is on the verge of making a rather large purchase of a 4-bedroom, 4-bathroom house, so I don't really think she needs you to advocate for her, Liz. If the tacos were too hot, eat something else, it's no big deal. Anyway, argue they did, and the very following day, well, this happened.
I go to bed, I wake up, and he's gone. Then yesterday, I received a text message from our officiant telling me how sorry he was that the wedding was called off.
Wait, what? Somebody get the devil on the phone because he has a competitor of quite some merit. What kind of dirty demon does this? Yes, we all know who does. Ed does. What up, Lucifer? I'm sitting here and I'm considering the sheer humiliation that Liz must have felt when the officiant rang and said, you're no longer getting married in 2 weeks' time. Liz should have really run away from that bozo the second she clapped eyes on him. So Liz continues to production that she has absolutely no idea what's happening. Liz, I do. Ed has finished with you. You're not getting married. You are now living in Arizona with your daughter as a single parent. That, Liz, is what's happening. But then, guys, finally, the penny has dropped with Liz.
And I don't understand how he can just cancel the wedding over stupid taco pasta. The only thing I can think of is Ed is getting cold feet and he never actually really wanted to get married.
There we have it. That's it right there. Bingo. You have it in one. Ed had cold feet anyway, and he never wanted to get married, and I think that's the real crux of the matter here. And so then we catch up with the demon himself, and Ed's going to talk with his sister, Elizabeth, about what's just transpired. And so Ed starts off by apologising to Elizabeth, because she was there when the fight took place. Well, that's a first. I've never ever heard him apologising previously, so I guess there is some growth there. And his sister said, yeah, she doesn't respect you. She went on and on and on. I thought it was going to stop, but it just didn't. And then Ed tells us what he thinks is wrong with the relationship.
I made Riley's taco pasta too spicy. Yes, I made a mistake, but that's not the issue. The problem that Liz is escalating such a dumb fight to the point where I don't want to be around this anymore.
Okay, so we're sticking with the Taco Gate fight. And then Elizabeth said she wanted Ed to have a partner who was a born-again Christian and she wanted him to live in a godly home. Wait, what? Ed? But don't you realise he's the devil? He's Arizona's Lucifer. I don't know how that's gonna work. Not well, I'd say. Anyway, even Ed's sister was dumbfounded at the fact that he'd called the whole wedding off and that he'd even got all of his deposits back, but Liz still didn't know. And so Ed texted Liz to meet up with him. But guys, once again, Ed shows his absolute rank selfishness just before he left his sisters with this statement.
I'm going to be miserable for the rest of my life. And I don't want to be divorced. It would be a nightmare. It wouldn't be a good thing for her or for me. No. Especially for me.
Especially for me. Especially for you, Ed. Have you not thought about Liz and her daughter and the fact that Liz has moved to Arizona just to be with you and your family in your hometown? Good Lord. As terrible as it is for you, Ed, it's a shit thing for Liz. Ed simply knows not how to consider anybody else's feelings. Anyway, he goes to meet with Liz in a bar to let her know the awful news that he's cancelled the wedding and it's definitely over and that they're never ever ever getting back together. So I guess this meeting's going to tell us who's lying. But Ed starts out. Well, Ed doesn't start out very well because he starts out talking to production and he shines a light on a lie he earlier told.
I was single for 30 years after my first divorce, and it was very difficult for me. It's not something that I want to do again.
What? He was single for 3 years? After his first marriage? He told us he'd been single, remember, I think it was 30 years or 20 years. He said after his first marriage, he didn't have another relationship until he met Rose. Oh my lord, this kid couldn't lie straight in bed. Guys, I very much doubt I'm going to be siding with Ed after this. But it would seem that Liz isn't going to turn up. She phones Ed at the time they were supposed to meet and says, well, I can't bring my kid with me and why are we meeting at a bar to have a discussion about our relationship? This is not an appropriate place, so I'm not going to come. But guys, I think she's really just scared that Ed's going to say what he's going to say, it's definitely over. And she just doesn't want to hear it. She could have told him by text when she agreed to meet him that the Bull's Head Bar wasn't a great place to meet. But she's waiting until now.
I texted you 2 hours ago. I'll meet you anywhere you want me to meet, but my mind's made up. Liz, my mind's made up. Regardless, my mind is made up, okay? I don't know what to expect out of you. Oh, she hung up.
Guys, Ed's mind's made up, and that's where we leave things for this week. So what does the Ebird make to all of this? It's very difficult for me to decide. I'm fairly certain of one thing. Ed didn't have enough funds to actually get married. Of that I'm fairly certain. However, as we all know, you can go plastic fantastic or get a small loan. So it's not difficult to get married with not that much money. It just means you owe the money back. And I guess from Ed's point of view, the chances of this relationship working out long term were so slim that, well, what's the point? But I have got to say, Ed, why didn't you realise this before you moved all the way to Arizona? Could it be that Ed wanted to move to Arizona to be with his family anyway, and he wanted to take Liz along for a nice soft landing? Anything is entirely possible with Ed. I think they have tried everything. They've tried counselling, they've tried arguing, Ed's tried sugar babies. And absolutely nothing works. They just can't seem to get on the same page. Even going back to the argument, Liz said to us, when I chastised Ed, I pulled him to one side to have a word with him. But clearly she didn't because Ed's sister knew all about the argument and was present, so it must have been in front of everybody. I very much have a feeling that Liz knows she was in the wrong over Taco Gate. She also said something else which is very interesting. I'm not going to have anyone speak to my daughter like that. Well, from your own mouth, all Ed said was, stop being a big baby. Guys, I may be wrong, but I have a sneaking suspicion that Liz is trying to weaponise the fact that she's standing up for her daughter. I genuinely believe that if the daughter had have been wildly upset, we'd know. She wouldn't leave that bit of information out. I think that Liz was very probably irritated by the fact that Ed hadn't considered her daughter in the way that selfish Ed wouldn't do, and just made the food as hot as an adult could eat it. And then when he was confronted, instead of saying, oh, I'm so sorry, let me get something else, he hit back with saying, don't be a big baby. But it does sound as if Liz did escalate this argument above and beyond what it needed to be. So although Liz is trying to say, this whole relationship is finishing just because of taco pasta, I think it's because of argument after argument after argument. And also it's just been a grind, a slog. It's not fun. They don't seem to enjoy each other. I mean, come on guys, where are the lols? I don't know if both of them are in this just for the cameras or what it might be, but yeah, I've always thought it just doesn't work. It never has. But finally, what do you think to the way that Ed called the wedding off? Guys, to me, it was the most hella callous way you could have done anything. After all these years, even if Liz is in the wrong or even if you are incompatible, which it would seem that you are, at least have the bollocks to go to her and say, right, this is finished, let's get together and let's cancel this wedding. It's typical Ed. He's so lily-livered that he daren't actually tell her, let's cancel the wedding. He just goes behind her back and calls all the vendors and gets his money back. He even said himself, I don't want to be divorced, it will be bad for both of us. But worse for me, he's always thinking about how things will impact him, and he hasn't thought how this is going to impact Riley for 1 second. And I've just remembered. Also, Ed was hell-bent on stopping Liz from being a partner in this restaurant, and now he's managed it. He's dragged her all the way from San Diego. Is it San Francisco? Oh Lord, not this again. San Diego, I think. All the way to Arizona. For what? She's now a single mother once again, and she's sitting on a handful of nothing. Ed, you should have thought about all of this before dragging the poor girl halfway across the country. But then, oh my God, I've just thought of something else. It could well be that Ed never ever planned to get married. He knew he didn't have the funds. But maybe he thought he could have an argument with her, cancel the wedding, and at some undefined later point, get back together again, but then, hey presto, the wedding's off. Or maybe it's just kicked 1 or 2 years down the line. It's certainly something to think about, but guys, let me know your thoughts. Why do you think Ed's cancelled this wedding? Is it money? Is it incompatibility? Is it because he just doesn't want to be married? Which could be the case. And also, what do you think to the way Ed called everything off? I'd love to know in comments down below, and I'll get on with my next video, guys. It's been another long one. I really don't know how to say anything shorthand. I really don't. I do try, guys. These videos start out about an hour long and I whittle them down and lose things to try and make it as short as possible, but yeah, it's difficult. Anyway, thank you so much for listening. If you've enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Press that big red button, hit it, press it, smash it, caress it. Subscribe, my friends, subscribe. And I'll see you soon. You've been listening to Ebird Online and I bid you good day.
Don't wanna overthink it, baby. It's just me, your body, your mind. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite.